But that's not an action of worship. That's an action of a worship of the creation, not the Creator. And that's why we have Earth Day. Many of the teachings that we were brought up to believe that the Earth was a common planet. What we live on is duplicated throughout the galaxy. There's many Earths. They're all over the place. But what science has told us in recent times, in the last 10, 15 years, is that we are a unique place, and we are a unique planet. You see, if you look out there at the night sky and you can see all the stars, you'll see depending on where you are on the Earth, you'll see a concentrated area of stars, and that's the Milky Way. And you're looking into the center of the Milky Way. And if you were to look at the Milky Way from the top, it would look more like a frisbee with spiral arms that go off around the sides of it. We're in one of those spiral arms off to the side, out on the edge. If we were closer to the middle, we would be affected by all kinds of gravitational pull, all kinds of radiation, and all kinds of bad things that would not allow this Earth to function as it does. But that's a galactic view. Let's bring it into the solar system. The solar system is comprised of a group of planets. We're the third one out from the sun, 93 million miles. When you look at the sun, that's 93 million miles away. It takes 7 minutes for the light to get to Earth from there. The Earth rotates around the sun in a 365-day year. Every fourth year we add a day because we don't count the quarter every year. Our orbit only changes about 3.5% of the distance between the Earth and the sun during a one-year rotation. Our sun, the scientists would tell you, is just a common star. But now it's become very evident that the sun represents one of only 10% of the stars in the Milky Way. It's truly a unique star for our solar system. Now, you'll read in some science books that you'll see that there are other solar systems out there. They have discovered solar systems around other stars. But the difference between those solar systems and ours is our Earth rotates almost in a circular pattern, and so do all the other planets around the sun. The other planets that they've found are in a large elliptical orbit. Now, what would happen if the Earth went around in an elliptical orbit? We would have ice ages, and then super hot times, and then we would not have the climate that we have now. So let's bring it in even further. Let's bring it in to the moon. The moon's at a half. You can look up in the sky and see half of it tonight. It's important to realize that the moon, if it were any bigger, would cause tides to be so dramatic there would be catastrophe on the planet. The moon represents 60% of the reason that we have tides in the ocean throughout the world. These tides are so important that it creates the currents in the ocean to bring the heat from this equator area to the higher continents so there's not super cold areas. You can see how the hurricanes go in the Atlantic. They start on the African west coast, they come towards the United States, and then head back up towards the eastern seaboard, towards Europe. That's how that current runs in the Atlantic. And that's partially due to the moon's pull on the planet. The moon also holds the Earth in its 23-degree tilt throughout its entire rotation around the sun. If the moon wasn't there, the tilt wouldn't stay at 23 degrees. What would happen if we didn't stay at a certain tilt around the sun? You wouldn't have any seasons. You would be just like the moon, where one side would be super hot, the other side would be super cold. So you see, the moon has a big part of what was going on. The sun also picks up the other 40% of the tides. And one last point is you've got Jupiter sitting way out here, which is the largest planet in our solar system, beyond the asteroid belt. And it has such a large gravitational pull that it will not only shield us or help comets and asteroids and whatnot from not hitting the Earth, but without that being in the orbit that it is, it would throw the Earth's orbit completely off. So while you wonder why I'm telling you all these things, is because the psalmist writes this and tells us that day after day they pour forth speech, and night after night they display their knowledge. We are on a special place. We are on a unique planet. We are not just another planet in the solar system, and there's thousands and billions of other civilizations out there, as the late Carl Sagan would say. This is a unique planet. This is a unique place, and everything in it is where it should be for the time that it needs to be there. Any change that would have happened in how the Earth is here would not support life, would not have the climate that we have, would not have the seasons that we have, would not have the tides that we have, would not even support what you've come to know as a normal weather pattern. Apart from global warming, which I'm not even going to go into because I think it's a media frenzy, we are on a unique planet. And I believe that's what the psalmist is saying there. But let's go on into Psalm 19 a little further and see what else he's talking about here. In Psalm 19, verses 7 through 11, and let me read those again for you so that we can talk about them. Psalm 19, verse 7. The law of the Lord is perfect, reviving the soul. The statutes of the Lord are trustworthy, making the wise simple. The precepts of the Lord are right, giving joy to the heart. The commands of the Lord are radiant, giving light to the eyes. The fear of the Lord is pure, enduring forever. The ordinances of the Lord are sure, altogether righteous. They are more precious than gold, than much pure gold. They are sweeter than honey with the comb, from the comb. By them, all of those above, your servant is warned. In keeping them, there is great reward. Reward. We all want rewards. We all want what's promised in the Bible to us. We all want that peace and security, and we all want those rewards. The law, the precepts, the commands, the fear, the ordinances, all more precious than gold, all more pure than gold, sweeter than honey from the honeycomb. In keeping them, there is great reward. That's the truth that the Bible tells us. But we're not blind rule followers. We don't follow all those things. It's not in our nature. God gave us free will.